Sri Sai Sacharita, Chapter 9. Effect of compliance and non-compliance with Baba's orders at the time of taking leave. A few instances: mendicancy and its necessity, devotees, Tharkat's family, experiences, Baba fed sumptuously. At the end of the last chapter, it was briefly stated that the Bhaktas who obeyed Baba's orders at the time of taking leave fared well, and those who disobeyed them suffered many a mishap. This statement will be amplified and illustrated with a few striking instances and by other matters dealt with in this chapter. Characteristic of Shirdi pilgrimage. One specific peculiarity of Shirdi pilgrimage was that none could leave Shirdi without Baba's permission, and if he did, he invited troubles. But if anyone was asked to quit Shirdi, he could stay there no longer. Baba gave certain suggestions or hints when devotees went to bid goodbye and take leave. These suggestions had to be followed. If they were not followed and were departed from, accidents were sure to befall them. We give a few instances. Tatya Kote Patil. Tatya Kote was once going in a tonga to Kopargaon Bazar. He came in haste to the masjid, saluted Baba and said that he would go to Kopargaon Bazar. Baba said, "Don't make haste. Stop a little. Forget the bazaar. Don't go out of the village." On seeing his anxiousness to go, Baba asked him to take Shama, Madharao Deshpande, with him. Not minding this direction, Tatya Kote immediately drove off in his tanga. Of the two horses, one, which cost 300, was very active and restless. After passing Savli Vihir, it began to run rashly, got a sprain in its waist and fell down. Tatya was not much hurt but was reminded of Mother Sai's direction. On another occasion, while proceeding to Kolhar village, he disregarded Baba's direction and drove in a tanga which met with a similar accident. European gentleman. One European gentleman of Mumbai once came to Shirdi with an introductory letter from Nana Sahib Chandorkar and with some other objective in view. He was comfortably accommodated in a tent. He wanted to kneel before Baba and kiss his hand. Therefore, he tried thrice to step into the masjid, but Baba prevented him from doing so. He was asked to sit in the open courtyard below and take Baba's darshan from there. Not pleased with his reception he got, he wanted to leave Shirdi at once and came to bid goodbye. Baba asked him to go the next day and not make hurry. People also requested him to abide by Baba's direction. Not listening to at all, he left Shirdi in a tonga. The horses ran all right, but while Savli Veer was passed, a bicycle came in the front, on seeing which the horses were frightened and ran fast. The tonga was turned topsy-turvy and the gentleman fell down and was dragged over some distance. He was immediately rescued but had to go and lie in Kopargaon hospital for the treatment of his injuries. Such experiences were legion, and all the people learned the lesson that those who disobeyed Baba's instruction met with accidents in one way or the other, and those who obeyed them were safe and happy. The necessity of mendicancy. Now, to turn to the question of mendicancy, a question may arise in the minds of some that Baba, if was such a great personage, God manifest, why should he have recourse to begging bowl throughout his lifetime? This question may be considered and replied from two standpoints. Who are the fit people who have a right to live by the begging bowl? Our Shastras say that those persons who, after getting rid of becoming free from three main desires, for progeny, for wealth and for fame, and accept sannyasas, are the fit people to live by begging alms. They cannot make cooking arrangements and dine at their home. The duty of feeding them is laid on the shoulder of a householder. Sai Baba was neither a householder nor a vanaprastha. He was a celibate sannyasi from boyhood. His firm conviction was the entire universe was his home and he was Lord Vasudeva, the supporter of the universe and the imperishable Brahman. So he had the full right to have recourse to begging bowl. Now from the second standpoint of view of Panchasunya, that is 5 sins and their atonement, We all know that in order to prepare foodstuffs and meals, the householder has to go through 5 actions or process. Khandni, that is pounding, Peshni, that is grinding, Ukambi, that is washing pots, Marjani, that is sweeping and cleaning, Chuli, that is lighting hearths. These processes involve destruction of lot of small insects and creatures, and thus the householder incur an amount of sin. In order to atone from this sin, our Shastras prescribe 6 kinds of sacrifices: Brahma Yajna, Veda Jnana, that is offering to Brahmanas or study of the Vedas, Pitru Yajna, offering to the ancestors, Deva Yajna, offering to gods, Bhuta Yajna, offering to the beings, Manushya Atiti Yajna, that is offering to men or uninvited guests. If these sacrifices enjoined by the Shastras are duly performed, the purification of their minds is effected, and this helps them to get knowledge and self realization. Baba, in going from house to house, reminded the inmates of their sacred duty, and fortunate were the people who got the lesson at their home from Baba. Devotees' experiences. Now, to return to the other more interesting subject, Lord Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 26, "Whoever devotedly offers to me a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, of that pure hearted man, I accept the pious offering." In the case of Sai Baba, if a devotee intended really to offer anything to Sai Baba, and if he afterwards forgot to offer the same, Baba reminded him and his friend about the offering and made him bring to that what was expected and bless the devotee. A few instances are given below. Tarkad family, father and son. Mrs. Ramchandra Atmaram, alias Baba Sahib Tarkad, formerly a Pratna Samajist, was a staunch devotee of Sai Baba. His wife and son equally loved Baba, or perhaps more. It was once proposed that Master Tarkad should go with his mother to Shirdi and spend his summer vacation there. But the son was unwilling to go, as he thought that in case he left his home in Bandra, the worship of Sai Baba in the house would not be properly attended to, as his father, being a Pratna Samajist, would not care to worship Sai Baba's picture. However, on his father giving an assurance under oath that he would perform the worship exactly as his son was doing, the mother and the son left for Shirdi on Friday night. Next day, that is Saturday, Mr. Tarkad got up early, took his bath, and before proceeding with the puja, prostrated himself before the shrine and said, "Baba, I am going to perform the puja exactly as my son has been doing, but please let it not be a formal drink." Saying so, he performed the puja, offered few pieces of lump sugar as naivedya. The sugar was distributed at the time of lunch. That evening and next Sunday, everything went on well. The following Monday was a working day, and it also passed well. Mr. Tarkad, who had never performed puja like this in all his life, felt great confidence within himself that everything was passing on quite satisfactorily as per the promise given to his son. Next Tuesday, he performed the morning puja as usual and left for his work. Coming home at noon, he found that there was no prasada to partake at home at noon. He found that he had left no prasada. He asked the servant cook, who told him that the offering was not made that morning and that he had completely forgotten to do that part of the puja, that is offering Naivedya. At this, he left his seat and prostrated himself before the shrine, expressed his regret at the same time, chiding Baba for wanting to guidance in making the whole affair a matter of mere drill. Then he wrote a letter to his son stating the facts and requested him to lay it at Baba's feet and ask his pardon for his neglect. This happened in Bandra at about Tuesday noon. At the same time, when the noon aarti was about to commence in Shirdi, Baba said to Mrs. Tarkad, "Mother, I had been to your house in Bandra with a view to have something to eat. I found the door locked. I somehow got an entry and found to my regret that Bau, that is Mr. Tarkad, had left nothing to eat for me. So I have returned unappeased." The lady did not understand this, but the son, who was close, understood the whole thing, that there was something wrong with the puja in Bandra, and he therefore requested Baba to permit him to go home. Baba refused this, but allowed him to perform the puja there. Then the son wrote a letter to his father stating all that took place at Shirdi and implored his father not to neglect the puja at home. Both these letters crossed each other and were delivered to respective parties the next day. Is this not wonderful? Mrs. Tharkar. Let us now take up the case of Mrs. Tharkar herself. She offered three things, that is, barit, roasted brinjal mixed with curds and spice, kachria, circular pieces of brinjal fried in ghee, peda, sweet meat ball. Let us see how Baba accepted this. Once, Mr. Raghuveer Bhaskar Purandare of Bandra, a great devotee of Baba, started for Shirdi with family. Mrs. Tharkar went to the Mrs. Purandare and gave her two brinjals and requested her to prepare bharat of one brinjal and kachria of the other, and when she went to Shirdi and served them to Baba. After reaching Shirdi, Mrs. Purandare went with the dish of bharat to the masjid. And when Baba was just sitting for meals, Baba found the bharat very tasty, so he distributed it to all and said that he wanted kachria now. A word was sent to Radhakrishna Mai that Baba wanted kachria. She was in a fix as that was not a season for brinjals. How could you get brinjals was a question. When an enquiry was made as to who brought bharat, it was found that Mrs. Purandare was entrusted the duty of serving kachria. Everybody then came to know the significance of Baba's enquiry regarding kachria and was wonderstruck at Baba's all-pervasive knowledge. In December 1915, one Govind Balaram Mankar wanted to go to Shirdi to perform the obsequies of his father. Before he left, he came to see Mrs. Tharkar. Then Mrs. Tharkar wanted to send something with him to Baba. She searched the whole house but found nothing except a peda which has already been offered as Naivedya. The boy Govind was in a mourning. Out of great devotion to Baba, she sent the peda with him, hoping that Baba would accept and eat it. Govind went to Shirdi, saw Baba, but forgot to take the peda with him. Baba simply waited. When again he went, Baba in the afternoon, he said, with an empty hand, without the peda, Baba asked him, "What did you bring?" He said, "Nothing." Baba asked him. The same reply came forth. Then Baba asked him this question, "Do you remember, mother, Mrs. Tharkar gave some sweetmeat for me at the time of your starting?" The boy then remembered the whole thing. He felt abashed, asked Baba's pardon, ran to his lodging and brought the peda and gave it to Baba. As soon as the peda was given in Baba's hand, he put it in his mouth and gulped it down. Thus the devotion of Mrs. Tharkar was recognized and accepted. As men believe in me, so do I accept them. From Gita, chapter 4, verse 11, was proved in this case. Baba fed sumptuously. How? Once Mrs. Tharkar was staying in a certain house in Shirdi. At noon, meals were ready and dishes were being served, when a hungry dog came there and began to bark. Mrs. Tharkar got up at once and threw a piece of bread, which the dog gulped with great relish. In the afternoon, when she went to the masjid and sat at some distance, Sai Baba said to her mother, "You fed me sumptuously. My famished pranas have been satisfied. Ever act like this, and this will stand in good stead. Sitting in the masjid, I shall never speak untruth. Take pity on me like this. First give bread to the hungry, and then you eat yourself. Note this well." She could not understand the meaning of what Baba said. So she replied, "Baba, how could I feed you? I am myself dependent on others and taking my food from them on payment." Then Baba said, "Eating that lovely bread, I am heartily contented, and I am still bleaching. The dog which you saw before the meals, and to which you gave a piece of bread, is one with me. So also other creatures, the cats, the pigs, the flies, cows, etc., are one with me. I am roaming in their forms. He who sees me in all these creatures is my beloved. So abandon the sense of duality and distinction and serve me as you did today." Drinking these nectar-like words, she was moved. Her eyes brimmed with tears, her throat was choked, and her joy knew no bounds. Moral: see God in all beings is the moral of this chapter. The Upanishads, the Gita, the Bhagavata all exhort us to perceive God or divinity in all creatures. By instance, given at the end of this chapter, and other numerous numbers to mention, Sai Baba had practically demonstrated to us how to put the Upanishad teachings into practice. In this way, Sai Baba stands as the best exponent or teacher of the Upanishads. Bow to Sri Sai, peace be to all. Om Sai Ram.